discussing rising food, electricity and import prices this very morning. But let's not forget this rising fuel costs that's looming. Government has stepped in to provide temporary relief, but many rather say this is not enough still and a more permanent solution is needed. This could include changing the fuel pricing system. So I'm now joined by Rescue COO Annaline to discuss how petrol price hikes actually affect consumers who are already drowning in debt. Annaline, thank you so much for your time. Good morning, and good to have you right here on the South African Morning. So, of course, these looming fuel price hikes not good for consumers, but I can imagine for those who are already drowning in debt, even more so worse. I mean, what's your view in this, and how will consumers actually cope with this while less drowning in debt, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, if we look at 15 months since the beginning of 2021, what has happened with the fuel price, it's gone up by over 46%. I mean, that's significant. That's really high. And we understand that government's obviously taken immediate measures for until the end of May, where we at least are not seeing further massive hikes right now. At least the projected hike we've been expecting at the beginning of March, or where we could potentially go, that blow was softened quite a bit. But the reality is, I mean, we're not moving the fuel price down. We're just preventing it from going up even further. And from a consumer perspective, I mean, we know from the official figures from the National Credit Regulator that we're sitting with almost 40% of credit active consumers who are defaulting on payments, and that was a few months ago already. It's tough. It's incredibly tough out there for consumers. And the fuel price specifically is not just the direct impact. It's not just, and I mean, this is bad enough, but it's not just necessarily having to put the fuel in your vehicle or the transport that you use where those costs are going up. It's indirect because our goods are transported by rail in South Africa. So that burden comes directly to us in that manner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that government intervention is expected, of course, to help lower South Africa's, fuel and petrol prices in April and May. That obviously is welcomed by motorists. But do we know if there is a guarantee that, international factors would have improved by at least June?
None, unfortunately. I mean, we all watch the news and we're watching the conflict, and we know that has been a very big factor. The Russian exports of gas and I mean, it's very far-reaching, and we have no idea. And I don't think anybody can give guarantees at all. I mean, government is definitely trying, at least to curb the ridiculous increases that could potentially happen here. But I mean, like I said, before this even happened, we were sitting with for 2020, it was well over 30%, and it's placed a massive burden, and we need to start looking at manners to reverse that, rather than have it continue at the price as it is already. Consumers are struggling. I mean, we have living expenses that go up because of this. We have electricity hikes. We've got annual increases on most of our insurances and all those kind of things. It just adds up exponentially here.
Yeah, and I know that, you are of the view that a more permanent solution is needed at this point more than ever. What does that solution then look like?
Well, it's a difficult one. I mean, obviously, with the powers that be in control, they're the ones who know exactly where the opportunities do exist. We know of the recommendation. Deregulation obviously is something worth looking at, and I know it's one of those that have been tabled, looking at the advantages and disadvantages obviously for the industry, over and above just the consumers. So there's a lot that I think government can work with, and obviously they know what is available to them, as long as we know that it is being looked at. But they've given some time here within which they can make these necessary changes.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. But, of course, quite important to know those fuel price hikes and the impact they will have on consumers, as well as those who have an active credit and those who are drowning in debt. And I can appreciate you even more for sharing, of course, your views with us this morning. Debt Rescue COO Annaline, of course, joining us this very morning.